All right, mate. Keaysy, 3 years ago you were delisted by the Lions, and now today you've been added to the Crows leadership group. Can you talk about the transformation and the turnaround that you've had in your AFL career?
Yeah, it's been an interesting 3 years. I've absolutely loved it. I'm so grateful that the club took a chance on me back then, and yeah, I've just put my head down since and tried to work as hard as I can, and everything else that's come along has been a big bonus. So yeah, it's been a nice journey that I'm sure I'll look back on. But at the moment, head down, still in the present, still getting to work.
What does it mean to you to have now the younger generation, the new players coming through, to look up to someone like yourself and for you to now teach them and hopefully inspire them to become good players?
Yeah, it's always been, it's something that, I feel like I've sort of just done naturally along the journey. Yeah, we've got so many young guys, and I feel like that, I've sort of been there and done that in a few different situations, whether it be bad or good. So I do have that sort of experience that I can hopefully pass on. Especially the younger guys coming through that come in, and whether it's guys that are playing in the reserves or coming up and down from the team, it's hopefully something that I've got a bit of area of expertise in, so I can sort of help out in that respect. So, but yeah, I'm just really looking forward to the year, to be honest. I can't wait.
What does Reilly O'Brien add to that mix as well? Is he coming in for the first time too?
He's just a really hard worker, probably the hardest worker we've got, sets an example by doing those things. Loves the little things, loves the gym, loves doing extra touch. He's just a good example of what hard work can do. And he obviously won the club champion a couple of years ago, coming from that. So he's going to be fantastic. He's going to bring a lot to the group.
Last one from me on this. Matt Crouch, obviously he's no longer a part of the group. Have you spoken to him? How does he sort of feel about the whole situation?
No, I haven't spoken to him, so you'd have to ask him. But Crouch is super professional, and the club wanted to give him the best chance to get his body right. It's been a tough sort of 12 months for him with his body. It's never good to see a teammate miss that much footy going through an injury like that. So he's a professional and he does his thing. So yeah.
All right, I'll let someone else have a go. Thanks, mate.
Hazy at 7, are you on the line?
Thanks, Race. Keaysy, in terms of leadership, what sort of leader are you, mate? Will you be vocal? Will you be working behind the scenes? How would you describe it?
I feel like I've always been pretty vocal. It's going to be a big thing, having the demand there and trying to drive that on field. With our group, an inexperienced group, we're going to get in situations on the field where the games are in the balance, whether we're up or down, different situations like that. Hopefully we've got a packed Adelaide Oval as well, so the noise will be up. So it's definitely an area that I want to really drive that demand, that voice in those crunch moments. And apart from that, just being authentic, just being myself, working hard, trying to set an example like that, trying to drag guys along as well to work hard as well. That's what I can bring, I think.
What have you learnt off Sloaney in that space?
Oh, heaps. He's a model citizen in a way, but he's good. He's got that balance of care and love for his teammates, but he's also got that demand, and he really wants the club to climb up the ladder, and he wants everyone to be better, and he's really good at that side of things. And at his age, the way he's looked after himself as well is an example really to younger guys like myself, that you can push on into your 30s and still be able to do the things that he does just by looking after yourself. So he's a really example in that area.
Was this last one for me? Was this an area that you were seeking, or was it a bit of a surprise where you sort of tapped on the shoulder?
No. I was just trying to just being authentic, and I obviously got a good run in the team last year, and really built my game off that. So a few of those things sort of just naturally came. And this pre-season, it was business as usual, and So yeah, it's a title, but I mean, it's just it's about being yourself and doing what you've been doing to get to this position and bringing guys along with you. So I'm really excited for it.
Thanks, mate. Well done.
Thanks.
Matt at the Advertiser.
Hey, Ben. Hope you're going well, mate. I just wondered, how and when did you actually find out about your call up to the leadership group?
Sloaney spoke to me a couple of days ago. I think it was on Tuesday.
And your immediate reaction, mate?
Yeah, it was nice. It was a nice moment, but I mean, as I said before, you try and just you try and just do business as usual, really, and just keep doing what you've been doing to get to that point. Yeah, can't get too hung up. Trying to focus on the task at hand. I think that's something I've really gotten better at over the years. Just head down, focus on the next session or what you have to do to get better that day. Yeah, control your day, control your career. So that's sort of what the headspace I've been in this week.
And you sort of touched on it before, mate, but in terms of where you've come from, I mean, top 5 finishing the BNF a couple of times now. Obviously, the captaincy nod, is it a pinch yourself type thing, how far you've sort of come just since you've been at the club in these few years?
I'm sure I'll look back maybe in a while and reflect on all that. But as I said before, it's hard. You can't really get caught up in that stuff. It's a double-edged sword. It's the good and bad times. You can't really sort of stew on either of it. It's got to really be about the next task, the next that day. What are you going to do to get better that day? What can I do to make the team better today? And stay in that mindset. And that's the mindset I've been in over the last couple of seasons, and I'm just going to continue to be in.
And in terms of who captains the side when Sloaney's not there, has that been sorted yet? Is Tommy going to get that nod again?
I don't think that's been sorted, no. If it has, I'm not too sure.
No worries, mate. I'll flick it around. Thanks for that.
All good.
Channel 9, Will, you there on the line?
Yeah, I am, mate. Congrats again, Benny. I think most of the stuff's been touched on. Mate, just coming from a guy who was outside of the group last year and now is inside the leadership group, is there anything this year that I suppose you want to bring to the table that wasn't there last year, or anything you think could be done a little bit differently? Not to say it wasn't good last year, but just is there anything you'd change perhaps this year?
Not particularly. I was pretty lucky last year in that the group actually rotated a few guys into some meetings and got some guys some experience. So myself and Reilly were two of the guys that were able to come into a few meetings and see how the leadership group operates and contribute to that. So yeah, it's not going to be completely new to me. As I've said, I think I can bring some stuff that just goes off the back of me just being authentic and being myself and continue to do what I've been doing on field and off. So hopefully that contribution is something that propels us forward and makes other guys better. And yeah, as a result, hopefully we can, climb up the ladder and be really competitive.
You made a little taste of it last year for you and Reilly. Was that something you enjoyed and relished last year, and maybe we're thinking, I'd like to do this kind of long term, or perhaps next year?
Not particularly, no. I was really focused on what can I bring to the group and what can I bring to the team to make us better. And there's stuff off field that I do really well in that area, and also on field a little bit as well. So, yeah, it was a good little taste. But I mean, for me, it was just, focus on what I do well and keep doing it well. Not trying to go sort of outside and try and bring anything that I don't need to bring. And as a result, yeah, I guess it's sort of happened naturally that I've been included in the group this year. But as I said, yeah, it's not something to sort of sit down and stew on. It's you got to keep moving and keep doing what's got you to this point now, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. Now, you touched on Maddie Crouch before. I suppose from the outside, my assumption is it's less of a demotion out of the group and more of I guess, a focus for him this year just to get his body right, and probably a little bit less of a burden not to be part of it. How's he going, and how's his rehab looking? Obviously today it looked like from the outset there was a bit of match sim and he was very much in the thick of it. Can you give us a bit of insight into how he's travelling and perhaps how all the recovery is going for him?
Yeah, he was in the thick of it. So I believe it's going really well now. He's done a few quarters of match sim now in a row, starting to string some really good match play together. And as we know, that's the sort of different fitness that you don't get from just running and conditioning. It's a different sort of fitness that match play. So see him in there doing his thing is awesome. We know how good he can be when he's at his best. He's an inside bull. He's clean. He brings a lot to the midfield group, and it's really good to see him out there again. He's competitive as well, so he's making a lot of the young guys in there better just by being out there. So he's been really professional, and it's showing at the moment.
And what kind of, I guess, expectation is there of him so far this year? I know we're getting a bit off topic, but I mean, yeah, he didn't really get to fire a shot last year. Is it looking like the way things are going, and touch wood, that he'll be able to be a big contributor this year?
I'm not sure what the expectation is, but I can't see why he couldn't be a key contributor this year, getting back into playing. He's going to be itching to go after 12 months off. I guess any player would. But, you know, we're just really excited to have a player of his calibre get back and healthy. It's the same thing with Wayne Miller. Both of them are just training so well, and you can see that they haven't lost a step, even though they've had so much time off. So, yeah, well, we really hope that they can get back and be really key contributors. They'll be like 2 new recruits for us.
Awesome, mate. Congrats again. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Anyone else got any last questions for Keaysy before we bring Rob in?
I might just ask one on Sloaney, actually. Keaysy, while you're there. Today in the match simulation, it looked like he was lining up on the wing a fair bit more than usual. Is that something that we might perhaps see a bit more of this season, this time around, with obviously with Seedsman out?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, we try a few things this time of year, especially positionally. Try and rotate it through, get different guys to have a go inside. You know, we've got some really young bulls. Sam Berry was in there today. Jackson Haitley played really well. So there's guys that can up their midfield minutes. So yeah, for us to be able to sort of rotate through a couple of positions is really important for the balance of the team. And I think that's definitely an area that we can grow in. You look at the best sides, there's a lot of guys that sort of roll through the midfield and can spit out to a wing, even forward. So we'd love to get to that point. So yeah, Sloaney's a pretty versatile player. He definitely did it early in his career. So yeah, he's being the selfless guy that he is, he's happy to try anything that'll make the team better and give other guys a go.
Hey, Riley, congrats, mate. Hope you're going well.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, in terms of the leadership traits, what leadership traits do you think you possess that got you the nod?
I think mainly I've always tried to set a really good example with my work ethic and my standards in my training and around the club. I think I've just elevated that as I've gotten more experience and try to really set a really good example. And I've always tried to show a lot of interest and care in a lot of guys. I think that's something that's come naturally. So I think they're probably my 2 strengths, and then really been working on my demand and my ability to make my teammates better in training and in games.
In terms of your journey, mate, obviously coming up the rookie list and spending a bit of time in the SANFL before graduating to the AFL. Would it have surprised you that was coming for you in terms of the journey, the development, getting a leadership group nod eventually?
Yeah, definitely. Before I came into the AFL, and then early days in my career, I was just looking to play some AFL footy and then eventually try and get a regular spot. So to be elevated to the leadership group's a real honour and something I don't take lightly. And I'm really, really happy to be acknowledged and put in that spot and being able to lead this group.
Keaysy was saying that Sloaney sort of gave him the news the other day. Was that the same for you? And I guess what was your reaction when you actually found out?
Yeah, I had a chat to Sloaney as well. So he sort of gave me the news, and him and Dan Jackson, who's sort of our head of leadership here at the club. I've been in constant communication with them for the last year or so, trying to develop that side of side of myself in leading this group and setting really good standards and creating the culture we want to create here at the club. So yeah, it was nice recognition of that, but yeah, it was nice to hear that from DJ and from Sloaney.
No worries. Congrats. Again, I'll pass it around.
Kent from 10.
Yeah, g'day, Riley. Congratulations, mate. Mate, you were the understudy for Sam Jacobs for so many years. Did you ever think a day like this would come around?
Well, yeah, as I said before, to be honest, when I was trudging away for a few years there, I was just sort of focusing on trying to develop myself and get a game, really. So I guess since being able to play regular footy, I've been able to get outside myself a little bit more. In those years, I was sort of just more thinking of myself a bit and trying to just improve and try and get into the team. So being able to have a few years at the level, being able to get outside myself and be able to try and develop in this space more so. And yeah, it's obviously a real privilege to be elevated to the leadership group.
There's so many young players this season, and it's a different look again. You've been at the club for a long time now. Where do you sort of compare this sort of team that's coming through compared to other years?
Well, in terms of culture and in terms of enjoyment around the club, I think it's probably the best it's been since I've been at the club. The group's just so young, full of energy. Everyone loves being here. And the work ethic's also stood out, really. The guys have been amazing in embracing the work and just eating it up this pre-season. So I think the enjoyment level, the care for each other and the work ethic is probably the best it's been since I've been at the club. It's my 8th year now. So, yeah, definitely top of the tree for that. So that'll set us up really well for this year and going forward. We really want to set up a really special culture at the club of sustained success, and I think we've got the pieces in place to do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, where do you think that translates then to wins this year and you know, perhaps beating teams that you haven't been able to do in the last couple of seasons?
Yeah, well, to be honest, we haven't had a lot of conversations about setting expectations this year, and we've just been focusing on the process of improving and focusing on the process of setting up our culture. So we've done a lot of work in that space, and I think we've come a long way in this pre-season. We've been training really, really well. The vibe around the club's been awesome. Everyone's loving each other, loving working hard. So I think that's all we can really do in pre-season, and the win should come off the back of that. So, yeah, I'm just excited to get into the season and see what we can do.
Perfect, mate. Thanks, heaps. So I'll pass it on.
Easy.
Hazy at 7. You're up.
G'day, Riley. Congrats, mate, with the news. Just in terms of the midfield, you've got the best view of it all. Your midfield, how is it assembling? Is there anyone in particular who's really sort of stood out for you?
Good question. Well, the competitiveness in there at training at the moment is through the roof. A lot of depth, and it'll be really tight for spots in there. So I think all the guys have sort of gone on a new level, it seems like. Sloaney's been training as well as I've seen him for a couple of years. Lairdy and Keays. Then having Maddie Crouch back in there is just going to be an absolute huge bonus around there. He's just so good around the ball and at the stoppage. So I'll love being able to work with him in there. And then obviously Jordy Dawson's been just, yeah, he's blown me away with his work on the track. He's been amazing. I didn't know how good he was inside and in terms of tackling and his ability to win the ball, as well as his outside stuff and his kicking. So he's been awesome, and I can't wait to play with him. But yeah, even guys like Sam Berry has been dominating, and Harry Schoenberg. So I think our midfield group's going to be really strong this year, and really looking forward to seeing what we can do through the guts this year.
Brilliant. Thanks, mate. Well done again.
Thanks, Andy.
Will at Channel 9.
Congrats again, Rob. Really exciting, mate. Good stuff. You mentioned the midfield's good, the culture's good, a lot of good development at the club. I suppose, realistically, what's a target for the amount of wins you guys can achieve this season? With all that said,
yeah, no, good question. We haven't really discussed that, to be honest. We haven't really delved into that, and as I said before, we're just really focused on setting up that culture and then setting up, putting in really hard work to set us up as well as we can for the year. So we haven't really set any limits on what we can achieve this year, but I definitely expect an improvement on last year, and the trajectory is definitely upwards. And I think with more guys playing a few more games, obviously having Jordy in there and Maddie Crouch and Wayne Miller are back, as well as guys like Josh Rochelle coming in, I think we'll see significant improvement from last year. So I'm super excited. We haven't set any, and certainly haven't set any limits on what we can achieve, and we're just super excited to crack in this year and get a few early wins and go from there.
In saying that, mate, I hate to put you on the spot, but do you feel as though, finals, I know that rebuilds don't happen overnight, and, these things do take time, and there's been steady development. Do you feel like finals are something you can be looking towards this year? Perhaps last year that wasn't maybe a realistic goal with where the rebuild was at, but this year with guys like Dawson and Miller, Crouch coming in, and the young guys taking a step forward, is it something that perhaps you'd be feeling a little bit more comfortable kind of aiming towards?
Yeah, well, as I said before, we haven't really spoken about expectations around that, but the reality of it is I think every club comes into the season with the goal of making finals. So certainly being in my mind, I'd love to play finals footy. That's what you sort of play footy to do. So hopefully we're able to put out some good performances early in the year and roll towards that, and that'd be awesome. But I guess we'll just wait and see, and we're just focusing at the moment. We're just focusing on, as I said, our culture, working hard, doing all we can to prepare for the season, and then taking a week at a time, as the old cliche says. And I think definitely that would be in our minds, and definitely not ruling it out.
Good stuff, mate. Thanks a lot for that.
Thank you.
I'll throw it open if anyone has any other questions for Rob.
Yeah, I'll jump back in if that's okay. Rob, I'm just interested in the ruck battle. Obviously, Strawny finished the year in the team and looks to have come on in leaps and bounds over the last couple of years. How do you sort of see where that battle between the two of you is at?
Yeah, no, he's improved out of sight in the last couple of years. He started about 4 years ago. He's pretty raw, similar to what I was like when I came in, and he's improved out of sight every year. So he's been awesome to have that competition at training, and we're fighting hard against each other in every session, make each other better. So I've really enjoyed that, and yeah, he's well and truly ready for AFL level. So certainly pushing each other and fighting for that spot, like a lot of other guys are. So certainly not a gimme walk up start, and I've got to play my best footy and train at a really high level, which is really good and keeps me at my best, as well as, and it's the same thing with other guys. Competition for spots all over the grounds, great, which we probably haven't had in the last couple of years, which is a real improvement and a real boost for the group this year.
Benny got asked the same question about you, about what he thought your leadership traits were, and it was almost echoed exactly what you ended up saying to my previous question about yourself. So I'll sort of do the reverse. What are some of Ben's leadership traits in your eyes that sort of got him the nod?
Yeah, Keays, he's amazing in terms of his standards and his work ethic. Probably the hardest worker at the club. His training standards are through the roof. He's a bit crazy on the field, which is great, and drives others to be better. And his demand, and especially in training, he's able to give really good feedback, help guys get better. Amazing with that. And then off field, he's one of the boys. He's very caring, shows a lot of care, and really is one of the key guys in connecting the group, and sort of a key part of the fabric of the group. So he's absolutely deserved the nod, and he's an absolutely awesome leader.
And just one last one from me. We talked before about Strawny coming on quite a bit in the last few years. Ned McHenry seems like someone that's really building nicely into his career, developing quite well. Caught my eye out there today. Can you just have a bit of a word on Ned and how he's sort of going in terms of his development?
Yeah, Neddy's probably the one that stood out for me almost the most this pre-season. He's absolutely flying. I think he sort of really found his feet late last year in the season. And he really started playing some good AFL footy and understood his role. And in this pre-season, he's just gotten fitter somehow. I don't know how, but he's taken his fitness to another level. he's playing with the ball. He's been absolutely great. So he'll be nipping around this year, annoying opposition teams and getting a lot of the ball and having a real impact, I think. So I'm really excited to see what little Nettie can do. So he's certainly one to watch this year.